Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bakes, and thanks for joining me for another episode of my random horror reviews. In today's episode, I decided to go back and pull out one of my sets of the Masters of Horrors. If you are familiar with my channel, you guys know I like to do this every now and then and do one of those episodes to review for this series. And today, I decided to go with Season 1's episode directed by Dario Argento, titled Jennifer. Now, this is not much of a cover to look at, this is just the set that holds this episode. But there we go, Jennifer on the back. As I said, directed by Dario Argento, which his noted directing credits that they've put on the back here are Suspiria and Opera, but he's also directed films like Tenebrae, and I'm sure if you're a horror fan, you definitely don't need to be explained who Dario Argento is, but as I said, his Season 1 episode, Jennifer, is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, when it comes to the Masters of Horrors, Jennifer has always been a fan favourite episode. Every time you talk about this series, a lot of people want to bring up Jennifer. And it's always been a favourite of mine too, definitely top 5. It doesn't really have a cemented spot in my top 5. It moves around, but as I said, always in my top 5. I've loved this episode, and this was definitely a fun one to go back and revisit for this review. So before we get into my thoughts of Jennifer, we'll quickly go into the plot. If you're unfamiliar with the Masters of Horrors, I say this every time I review one of these episodes. They roughly run 50 minutes to an hour, so I'm going to keep this description as vague as possible. But in this episode, we have our lead, Frank, who is played by Steven Weber, and he's a cop, and he shoots dead this crazy guy, in quotes, who's attempting to kill this girl, and the girl we come to know is Jennifer. And upon reveal, Jennifer is not normal. She's got this really fucked up, monstrous, grotesque face. She can't speak, and she's very monster-like, but she's got this beautiful body that everyone is infatuated with. They just look at her body and are like, wow. But as I said, she's got this really gross face, and it's not just the way she looks, it's her actions as well. As I said, she's very monster-like. A lot of the stuff that she does is fucked up. She's not completely normal, and it's very vague. They don't really talk about if she's even human, but I'll get into that later. But after Frank saves her, she starts to become a little bit infatuated with him, and vice versa, he starts to become a little bit infatuated with her, and I'll leave it at that. So let's get into my thoughts of this episode titled Jennifer. So I think the best place to start for this episode, Jennifer, is actually talking about the character Jennifer herself, because I just think she is so fucking rad. I just really like the idea of this gruesome, grotesque monster girl, but she's got a rocking bod. I just think that's such a cool idea. And I really like how it's very vague about what Jennifer actually is, because they never say that she's human, but then they also never say that she's a monster or anything. To me, I've always sort of interpreted the story as a siren/succubus tale, as in she's drawing in these men with her looks. As I said, it's not 100% from top to bottom, but she's drawing these men in with her body, and they're getting infatuated. I've just always sort of seen it as a succubus/siren story for myself. But her makeup and the way that her face looks is so fucking crazy good. It's so creepy, as I said, so fucking gross. There are moments in this episode, especially when she's like drooling, that make me want to fucking gag. Like, it's so nasty. There's this one scene in particular where she's kissing Frank's hand, as I said, played by Steven Weber. She's like kissing his hand and licking it, and all this drool is pouring out, and then she's got like food on her tongue and around her mouth, and it's all smushed. It's so fucking nasty. As I said, it makes me want to fucking gag, but it just encapsulates the episode so fucking well. And then, as I said, on top of that, it's so well matched that she's got this great body, because everyone's constantly commenting on her body and checking it out, but she's got this fucking terrible head. I love the part when Frank first brings her home and the family see her for the first time. The son is like freaking out over her head, but then he's checking out her body, and I just find that so fucking funny. And throughout the whole episode, a lot of people are saying that they're like, how do you get a body like that with a head on top? Like, it's just so funny, but I think it's such a cool character and such a cool idea to base the story around. Now, another thing I want to highlight for this one is the score. I mean, I love music like this in my horror movies. The kind of whimsical/evil, creepy nursery rhyme feel with synth in it. I love it. It's very Argento. If you want to know what the score in this sounds like, just pretty much watch any of his other movies. It's very much up that alley, but as I said, I love it. It's right from the opening scene, and you hear it constantly through the episode. I just think it's great. As I mentioned before, I really like the story for this one. It's just very unique, very creative. I just think it's such a badass idea. It's very simple and it just works wonders though. I'd say the only part where it starts to get a little bit shaky story-wise is maybe what you would call the second act for this episode, the mid part of this. I just feel like it takes its foot off the gas a little bit, gets a little bit slow, not much really going on. Not to the point where it damages the reputation for this episode. It's still very, very solid, but it ramps up again in the third act. The first and third act are just fucking great, and don't get me wrong, the second act isn't bad. As I said, I just feel like the foot goes on the brakes a little bit. But speaking of the ending, I really like how this episode ends. It ends full circle, you know. As I said, it opens with Frank finding Jennifer, and I'm not going to spoil how it ends, but it just feels very full circle. I really enjoy the ending to this episode. So wrapping up my thoughts now, as I said, mostly positives for this one. The only part that I really pointed out as a negative was the mid part of this episode sort of feels a little bit slow. But as I said, don't take that as a major criticism because that is very nitpicky. It's just a very minor thing, and honestly, even the mid part of this episode is more solid than, you know, a lot of the weaker episodes in this series. So overall, such a great entertaining episode. It's a breeze to get through. It's so much fun. As I said, the story is just so creative and unique, and I just think the idea is just so much fun. I love the music, I love the character of Jennifer. Overall, it's just really entertaining, and it's clear to see why that this is a fan favorite episode. As I said, always had it in my top 5, but after watching it this time, I would definitely say it's a lock-in for the top 3. It's just so fucking cool, and I'd love to see a feature-length version of this story. I just think it would fucking be incredible. You could have so much fun with it, but, you know, most likely we'll probably not see it, but whatever, wishful thinking. But my rating for Jennifer, directed by Dario Argento, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I just have so much fun with this episode every time I watch it. And as I said, it's no wonder it's a fan favorite because it's so fucking cool. But thank you for joining me for this random horror review, guys. As I said, every now and then I like to pull out my Masters of Horror sets. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. I'm not sure if people are like, oh, that's not a movie, and, you know, they get butthurt about it. They're kind of like short films. They're easy for me to chuck on, you know, when I haven't put up something on my channel in a while, or just feel like watching something short and putting a review together for yous. And Jennifer stuck out to me. It's been a little while since I last checked it out, and I've always enjoyed it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, and if you haven't seen it before, go and check it out and let me know your thoughts afterwards, or if you have seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comments now. And just overall, thank you for joining me again, guys. I appreciate everyone who is supporting my channel. The new subscribers, if you're not subscribed and you like horror content, man, subscribe. It's going to be fucking cool. Lots of cool content coming your way. And I appreciate everyone with all the support. As I said, liking, subscribing, commenting. I love having chats about horror movies in the comments below. So go for it, guys. And I'll see you in another video soon. Peace.